You're listening to The Pursuit with James Griffin, a podcast by Crosspoint City Church that exists to relentlessly pursue those far from God to help them know and follow Jesus. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's listen to today's episode.
Welcome back. I'm Matt Moody, and I am here with Will Goodwin and Pastor James Griffin. My friends, how are we?
We're good.
Doing great.
William, this is the first time we have been on this.
I know it's been a while.
This thing called a podcast together.
Y'all got to help me understand how I get the invite on the Gluttony episode.
Well,
listen, bro.
There's that.
That was all Ricky Petro, man. I had nothing to do with that.
You said this weekend, like you didn't plan to do Gluttony on Thanksgiving week, right?
Insane.
And just somehow no one was available to come and help on the podcast.
Everybody's out of town, so
they just wanted to make sure that I got on here.
We had to take who we could get, you know.
Well, if you're just listening in the car, Pastor Will.
What are you going to say? I am transslender. I am a little on the larger side.
All right.
But in all seriousness, though, I mean, you have been taking some serious steps, bro.
Yeah.
To just always take care of yourself and
for sure
all those things. So.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, it was part of my all to him commitment, like early on, was to be more intentional. And I lost a bunch of weight early on, and then, as I normally do, rewarded myself with the opposite direction. So just plateaued. But over the last, probably 6 months of just trying to be more, find something that works instead of just a fad diet. Because I've done vegan. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
Right? I was vegan for months. I was carnivore, the opposite.
Yeah.
I've done all of them. But just trying to find something that makes sense. I spend, not for weight loss, but just to fast probably once or twice a week in some way, shape, or form. And then exercise, which is something I don't necessarily like to do, but I found a way to do it. So I always use air quotes when I say the gym, but it's hitting golf balls in a simulator in town. It's been really great. And everybody else in there laughs because I'm just sweating like a pig. And I'm like, this is my workout. Y'all leave me alone. This is what I got.
And he's gotten good. His golf game is legit.
Yeah, I love it, man.
It inspires me.
It's good. Well, and I think this is a really important conversation today, though, for a lot of reasons. And it's super interesting. I can't tell you how many people I talked to over the weekend who are like, this is a first for me. Never heard anybody preach on gluttony. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time ever preaching on gluttony. I think it's just one of those things that we don't talk about much in the church these days, but it really does matter.
Well, if I can speak for our church, we're grateful you preached on it the week before Thanksgiving.
Let's go.
So thank you for that. And I know what everybody's thinking now that is listening. Great. I already feel convicted from this weekend. And now we got a podcast. We're talking about gluttony.
That's right.
But listen,
that will be released the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Praise God.
Go. Yeah.
Good luck to you guys. But listen, this episode's about wisdom. This is not a weight loss episode. So Pastor, you even opened your message by blowing up the idea that gluttony is just eating too much. You took it way deeper, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with this. Let's start with the hidden danger of what we may consider as harmless, quote unquote, if you can't see me, sins. You said if we can't control the small stuff like hunger and thirst, we don't stand a chance against the big stuff. So why do you think we tend to shrug off those harmless little sins, and how do they end up becoming the cracks or pathways by which bigger things sneak through?
Yeah, great question. Well, I did find it interesting as I was studying for this sermon to find that Evagrius, the guy who developed the list of what was originally 8 deadly sins, gluttony was at the top of his list for the very reason that you just acknowledged in the question. He believed that if a person cannot exercise self-control over what they eat and what they drink, they do not stand a chance against what we would say are the greater sins: pride, envy, greed, lust, wrath, all the things. And so, again, his whole point in putting it first was to make it very, very obvious that if you can't get this small thing right, these other things are going to take you out. And so to get at the question, even as I think about the phrase harmless little sins, I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is we love to compartmentalize sin. We love to categorize sin. We also, I think, for many of us, we have a wrong definition of sin. We only think that sin is the bad things that we do. But the way that we define it in our church all the time, it's when you ignore God and the world that he made. It's when you as a creature would say to your creator, that you're going to do life how you want to do life. And so when you think about eating and drinking, it's just that. I mean, food's great. And nobody would really sit here and go, eating and drinking, these are bad things that I do. No, these are good. They're necessary. They're right. But when you ignore God in those things, that's a problem. When you sit down at a table full of food and you don't consider God in how you're eating the food, that's sin. When you pick up something to drink, whatever it may be, and you don't consider God in your drinking, that could fall into the category of sin. And ultimately what you're doing by ignoring God in that area is you are training yourself to ignore him in other areas. And so it's like, it's that whole idea. You get off just like 1 degree and then you get way out there and you're off in left field, man. Just living like hell, man. And you didn't even mean to be there.
Yeah. Well, and later in the sermon, you had told the story, right, about Hophni and Phinehas. Did I say those right?
Okay. Yep, close enough.
Darn. You told the story about how something small for them, which was taking portions of the sacrifice, didn't belong to them. These were priests.
Yep.
It opened the door for something way darker. And for these guys, it was having sex with the women who were coming in to serve at the tent of meeting.
Yep.
And so what are some warning signs people should watch for so they don't drift down that same path?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, if you are taking what does not belong to you, that is a warning sign. I think all the way back to week 1 of the series when we talked about pride and how pride is that sin under every other sin. And pride can cause me to take things that do not belong to me. That pride inevitably will lead to envy, and envy is when I resent you for having something that I want. And so I'll just go take it from you. And when I think about these men, that's what they were doing. That meat did not belong to them.
Yep.
But they were taking it, and they were ready to take it by force if anyone stood in their way. And then they're taking women, who did not belong to them, and objectifying those women and using those women for their own pleasure. And so if you are so prideful as to think that you can just take things that don't belong to you and use them to satisfy deeper cravings, I would say that's a warning sign, man.
Yeah.
You're on a dangerous trajectory.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
Well, the interesting thing to me about food and drink in the small way is that you can't say that it's not needed. Like, we would not survive if we didn't have it.
Yep.
Right. So it isn't just this small, insignificant thing. It is a part of life that we have to have. Right. But I loved how when you talked about the first sin that brought the brokenness in the world was related to food, and I think about, like, they had everything that they needed, right? And there was just a little bit of greed and wanting, a little pride and believing they deserve something, whatever that is, right? And then that food, there's something about just teaching yourself and getting to a practice of knowing how much you can control or not need certain things. What comes to mind is, like, when you read about or when you watch documentaries, because I've never actually done this myself, what Navy SEALs have to go through. They put them through excruciating punishment that they might never have to experience again.
Right.
But they're ultimately teaching them that their body can do a lot more than they think they can.
That's right.
Right. And if you and in some ways that's kind of what you do when you're fasting. You're like, I'm going to purposefully abstain from this food.
Yep.
To remind myself that I don't need it as much as I might think I need it, and that ultimately what I need is God, because the promise, as He would take care of the birds in the air and the flowers in the field, that He will take care of me. Like, God knows we need food, He knows that we need drink, but we just need to believe we don't need it as much as we think we need it.
Yep.
And to rest in that, and to put yourself through some discipline or practice to recognize that it can become an idol. It can become in and of itself a thing that you put above God, because you, in your mind, you're just like, but I need it. I'm supposed to have it.
Right. Well, and even going back to the examples of the priests that you mentioned, Will, what you're saying, it reminds me of the 2 ways of living that Paul highlights in Philippians 3, self-denial and self-indulgence. And it's very easy to cross over into that self-indulgence thing. And before you know it, you don't even realize you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because you've trained yourself to think, I need more than what I actually need. Again, I think about the priests. What if they would have just taken what what belonged to them? Only the meat that they needed, not all the meat that they wanted. Well, now they're practicing self-denial, which makes it easier to practice self-denial in other areas of life.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? We don't need to sleep with those women coming to serve at the tent of meeting. What we need to do is practice holiness, purity, all of these things before the Lord. But again, when you're constantly training yourself in certain areas of your life, I'm going to take more, I'm going to take more, I'm going to take more. That will bleed over into other arees, man.
Yeah.
It's I just made the point. This is one of the most dangerous things about this sin of gluttony, is that when you have no self-control over these small cravings, there is a greater risk and a greater chance that you will indulge other cravings that at some point are just going to blow your life up, man. So it's a very serious thing to get this right.
Yeah, that was when you mentioned that over the weekend, it really was not a heart check, but something in I highlighted in my notes as one of those, like, don't get used to or don't allow the justification of what you may consider something like a small sin or what do you call, like, not a small lie. What do they call that?
White lie?
White lie, right? A white lie is not as bad as a actual lie. It's like, it's still a lie. What are we talking about? But you know how the enemy can try to convince you, hey, that's not as bad, right? Like, you're okay. But to what you just said, man, if we begin to believe that, that can lead to greater ways of sinning or of just disobeying the Lord. I'm curious what you guys think in regard to these priests. Right, so they were stealing what wasn't theirs, willing to harm people. They were sleeping with people who were not their wives. These guys obviously were not actually saved.
Yeah, they didn't know the Lord.
Right? So there's a deep danger for those of us, the little white lie, hey, I'm not that bad. Do you know the Lord?
That's a great question. I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself here. I've been prepping on the lust sermon today. But one of the texts that I was looking at, it was very interesting when Paul is telling the church at Thessalonica not to indulge lust like those people, like the Gentiles who don't know God. And the whole point that he makes there is, like, if you ain't fighting against this thing, there's a chance that you don't know God.
Yeah.
But we could say the same about all of these sins, couldn't we?
That's right.
That if there's no fight in you to push back on these things that have the ability to destroy you, to kill you, if you're not fighting against that, warring against that, well, what does that say about your faith? Is it real? Do you know Jesus? Are you walking with him? Are you becoming more like him? Are you relying on the Spirit of God to give you the power you need to walk in holiness each day? So, bro, I think you raise a very, very important question.
Yeah, well, and I would say when you talk about, because you said this is an episode about wisdom, right? A heart being aligned with God's, and thinking about that, kind of losing my train of thought, but that if we have more, right? If our heart is not aligned, then we want more, right? But if we are truly paying attention to who God is and what he's done, and even thinking about what John the Baptist said, right, in John 3:30, he must increase, I must decrease. So it's like you're training yourself to live with less and say, I'm okay with less. And it trickles into other areas of your life. Like, God has blessed me with more. What do I do with this more? Do I just increase the more for my own sake? Or do I use this blessing to help those who have less? Like, well, the more that God increases and the more that I decrease, the more I recognize, one, I can live with less. And then two, I can use what God has blessed me with to help those who have even less.
Well, it's that whole question of, do I need this or do I want this? Even thinking about food, it's like, this week, Thursday, fill up that plate, eat it all. And you're looking at the empty plate, deciding if you want to go back and get more. There's do I need more or do I just want more, you know? Am I trying to eat myself into a state of comatose, or, hey, do I need just a little bit more because there's still a little bit of hunger there? Or do I want to go back and just taste a little bit more of that sweet potato souffle so I can give God some glory for, thinking up something like that, whatever it is. But dude, that applies to so many things, doesn't it? It's food, it's drink, it's money, it's all of the things. Do I need it or do I just want it? And then I think the next question you have to ask, if you want it, is why do I want it? What's underneath the want? Is there something in me? Is there a craving or an appetite in me that I'm trying to satisfy with more of that thing? And I think for a lot of people who are always chasing after more food, more money, more sex, whatever it is, there's always something underneath that.
Yeah.
There's an appetite, a craving that they're trying to satisfy with that temporary thing, that gift of God, instead of going to God and trusting him to satisfy. And this is why people do dumb stuff and eat too much and waste money and all those things.
Well, I think that's a great transition to the next question, because what we were just talking about was a danger on the front end, right? This slow drift, the cracks we ignore. But then you turned the corner and got into something way more personal. And you just did it here now. The why behind all of this. So let's talk about our relationship with food, specifically when food becomes a false savior.
Okay.
All right, so let's imagine one of our listeners right now, they're just going through it. Like the world's against them, life's throwing punches, and their go-to comfort in all of it is food. Because ultimately, like you said, they're trying to satisfy a deeper appetite. But thankfully, they realize they are stress eating or they're comfort eating instead of going to God.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing they should do?
Well, before we say what they should do, can we just acknowledge the struggle is real?
Amen.
The struggle is real.
I didn't put myself here.
The struggle is real.
But it is, man. And I think our relationship with food says a lot about us. I think obviously, and I know we'll talk about avoidance here in just a few minutes. There are those people who, when they get stressed, they eat. And then there are those people, when they get stressed, they can't eat. It's like they're so anxious, they have no appetite. I fall into category number one. Get anxious, get stressed, give me some food, bro.
Yep.
I shared my personal story in the sermon about living in Miami, going to plant a church. It was an absolute train wreck. I was working an outside sales job, doing business sales, making a ton of money, but I was miserable. Just absolutely hated the job. And the way I dealt with stress in that season of life is I ate. Like, I've always been physically active, played sports my whole life, worked out. That year in Miami, I did not work out one time. And bro, I just ate. And when I say I ate, like, dude, I ate. And so I was the heaviest I had ever been, probably 50 to 60 pounds heavier than I was right now. And I just remember going to the doctor at 24 years old. I was having all kinds of weird health issues, man. And I walk in and he's like, dude, you're stressed, you're eating, and this is a problem, and you've got to change some things. And that was a real wake-up call for me in many ways, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I came to this realization. I'm expecting that to do for me what only God can do.
Yeah.
I'm running to the altar of food instead of running into the presence of God. And it obviously is not doing for me what I would hope it would do for me, because I'm just eating and eating and eating, and I'm never satisfied, right? And so I would fall into that first category. So I'm just being honest to go, I understand the struggle. It is a very real struggle. Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
What's the first thing they should do? I think you have to be honest with yourself about what you're doing. I think you've got to be able to take a step back and to humbly acknowledge, I have put food in the place of God. There's something going on inside of me. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if I'm trying to eat stress away. I don't know if I'm just trying to find pleasure in something, and that's the thing I'm trying to find pleasure in. But I think you got to do some self-assessment and go, what am I after in this? Why is this such a struggle and a problem for me? And then you've got to just be honest. I've made an idol out of food. And I think once you've come to that place of awareness and honesty, then you can begin to take some steps forward and you can begin to kill the idol and put it in its rightful place.
Yeah. No, that's good. I deal with a lot. You guys know, because we do life together. I got a lot of back issues. And throughout my life, it just comes and goes, from gymnastics on through CrossFit. Stuff's just made it worse.
Yeah.
And what I found is, in the seasons where my back's lit up, and to any back specialists that are listening, I will take all the advice.
Drop a comment.
Yeah,
drop a little note in the comments below. Yeah.
Ricky will hook me up. But no, dude, I will be eating my healthiest. I will avoid fast food, avoid Coca-Cola. That's like crack for me. I'll avoid the snacks. I always joke on the podcast about eating Oreos at night. Man, I'm not buying Oreos, but the moment I get injured is the moment I begin to like feel bad for myself.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that's when the healthy eating stops. Because I think in my mind, a part of me is like, all right, what's worth trying now?
Right.
But I don't know that I've ever asked the deeper question of, hey, why? And again, it's super like, as someone who's been a Christian since I was a little kid,
Yeah.
it feels silly to go, hey man, why didn't you just turn to Jesus when you're in pain? Well, I thought I did, and maybe I partially did, but then it's also so much easier to turn to another, what you don't understand to be a false God, and to get comfort out of, all right, I'm just going to go to Wendy's.
Right.
Right? You know what? A Coca-Cola ain't going to hurt me until it's like 3 weeks of Coca-Cola every day.
Multiple times.
And I think the reality is, dude, when you're in your 20s, like you can get away with it. You look a certain way. As we get older, the health, it really begins not only to affect you mentally, but it affects you physically. And I don't know that in some of those moments, I realize it more now than I did when I was younger. But I realize now, man, I turn to food when, especially when my body is breaking down. But it's also helped me to look, are there other moments when I'm stressed that I turn to food? Right? Whether argument with my wife, family stuff's hard, work is hard.
Right.
I mean, we work at Cross Point. It ain't easy. Actually, I love it, but it ain't easy. But yeah, asking that deeper question of, man, am I turning to something that's not Jesus? But again, like we said earlier, is it just that small thing?
Right. Yeah.
Well, can I add something to it then on the opposite? Because I've definitely done that for sure in stressful moments. I tend to be aware of it, right? Because I don't feel great. Like I know that I'm not doing something right.
Yeah.
I think the trickier one for me has been I reward myself, right? So even like I've lost 30 pounds. I worked out. Exactly right. I actually went to the gym today. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. I complete a project or I do something, right? Like spend all day yard work and it's like I'm ordering pizza tonight. You know, like there's something about like I deserve this. I've earned this. Like this is my reward for myself for doing something, even though in a normal routine I would probably not feel great about doing that in a stressful moment.
Yeah.
But I'm just,
It's very interesting, bro. I'm even thinking as you guys are talking too about even the quality and the quantity of the foods that we turn to.
Yeah.
And I think that matters. So it's like, okay, if I'm stressed or if I just crushed it and I want a reward, is it about quantity of food? Like I'm going to sit down and eat, 4 large pizzas, whatever it is.
Dang, I don't know if I've ever done that.
I'm not saying that you do that, but listen, I'm a pizza guy, bro. I could crush some pizza. But even as I think about the quality of food, it's like, what kinds of foods am I turning to? Am I sitting down and eating a steak and some vegetables as a reward? Or is it like, no, I'm going to go get the pizza and then I'm going to eat some cake and then I'm going to have a bowl of ice cream and whatever. It's very interesting when you start really assessing why am I turning to that? And what exactly am I turning to? And what's underneath all of that?
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about us.
Yeah. Well, and even say you reward yourself with something healthy and the motivation is a reward for something I did, not gratitude for something God is doing or even this amazing steak or grilled chicken that he has provided.
Yeah.
Right? Motivation still matters. Like
It does.
So let's talk about the other side of it then.
Okay.
All right. We just talked about indulging. And you said the second way it plays out is avoidance, where people avoid food, but it's still a way to feed a deeper appetite.
Yeah.
And we see this a lot, or at least I do, in what I'm going to call the current fitness diet culture, where social media is filled with all the latest diets, exercise gurus. Everybody's a specialist, right?
Yep.
And it's all about how you look. All them folks wanting show some abs, and I'm over that. I became a dad. And I got over showing
I
abs.
have a single-
Just
I have a
just
single
own
ab.
the dad bod.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? Like I didn't even have the kid. My wife had the kid and my body changed. That's more my fault.
That's so funny.
All right. But for the person who's chasing approval through their discipline or diet, how do they start shifting that focus back to God?
Yeah. How good, by the way, was that C.S. Lewis quote from the Screw Tape Letters, where he's talking about that woman avoiding food and food avoidance being a form of gluttony. I was talking to people after church going, all of these deadly sins have been much more robust than even I was thinking when we first started getting into it. But just to think about gluttony as food worship, it's when I put food in the place of God and expect it to do for me what only God can do for me. And avoiding food can be just that. If I am being controlled by food in any way, in either direction, that could still fall into the category of gluttony. So to your point, the people that you just described would never describe themselves as gluttons. All the fitness people, all the people with abs, all that stuff, like they would probably be offended at the thought of like, hey, dude, you're a glutton. But the truth is, if you're avoiding food to feed certain appetites because you want to come off a certain way, look a certain way, be disciplined for the sake of approval, whatever it may be, then again, I would say you're still guilty of the sin that we're talking about. Yep. This is still a problem for you. Can I ask a quick question too?
Yeah.
And the answer may be no. I mentioned 3 things yesterday just about, feeding appetites for superiority, feeding appetites for vanity, feeding appetites, what was the final one? For approval or whatever. Dude, do you see any other ways that people do this?
Oh, any other ways?
Yeah.
So other than superiority,
so why
vanity?
are people avoiding food these days? And again, if the answer is no, we'll just move on.
Yeah.
We'll just edit this part out of the podcast and act like I didn't ask the question.
Pause.
I needed this ahead of time. So
I'm sorry, bro. I know I sprung it on you.
Well, I'll just say, like, while Moody is thinking about the answer, that was a real curveball for me, especially for the vanity one, because even just processing, like when you said gluttony of avoidance, like I sat up, like, where's he going with this, right? And hearing the C.S. Lewis quote and seeing it from the people who take it to an extreme, I get it. But the vanity one hit me because there have been many times I've chosen, like I don't have like a self-esteem issue. I don't think about being overweight. I'm getting now, unfortunately, to the point to where it's starting to affect health. I should probably have done something years ago, right? But there have been clear times when I see an image of like an outfit, and like, ooh, I want to wear that, but I can't quite fit into that, right? Or to look at it, whatever. And then I've made a choice based on how I want it to look. And it hit me because it was such a curveball. I'd never thought about it that way. And for sure. And so like having the MyFitnessPal app and how much time and I want to use this word devotion to counting calories or tracking this stuff. And there have been times to think about like, man, I'm spending more time doing this stuff than at this particular time in my life than I am right now in Bible study or in personal devotion. Yep. And not so much like that I'm super convicted about this or wrecking me. It's just this weird, like, why this is such a weird habit that I've created for myself. But when you said that, I like, it just hit me. Like, there have been several times, and I've just never heard it before, that I could point to directly and go, I made that choice for vanity reasons and I didn't really know what I was doing.
Interesting. That's very interesting, isn't it? I'll tell you something that was on my mind that I didn't say it in the sermon. I kind of alluded to it softly, but the Ozempic craze that's been happening.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Over the last however many months or whatever, and you see all these celebrities that have done it, now normal people doing it, whatever. And I go, okay, what's underneath that? And again, I think for most people, I want to look a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing that ultimately might be detrimental to my health overall. I mean, dude, if you study side effects and consequences of that, you're using it, you don't really need it for what it was made for. You could do some serious damage to your body.
Yeah.
But I'm going to use it anyway so that I can suppress my appetite, suppress hunger, lose weight, and look a certain way. I mean, dude, it's scary, but we do it with all kinds of things. It's like, I think about the guy who takes steroids, bro. No, this is going to wreck and destroy me, my health, but I want to look a certain way. And so I'm going to put this in me for the sake of vanity and ignore all the detrimental effects of it.
Yeah.
And so I'll get back to the question if you want, but you're going to say something.
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna. right? There are health reasons that you do would you say,
For sure,
Ozempic, right?
100%.
But to your point, there are completely healthy people that take advantage of something meant to make someone else healthy so that they in vain can look a certain way. And I just think, man, if you're wrestling with that, right? Because I'm pretty sure when you said it over the weekend, there are probably a couple people who heard it that are like, "What'd you say, son? Like, why do I feel like James is looking right at me?" Well, right? Because that's but if you feel the conviction, that's between you and the Lord, right? This is not between you and Pastor James or something he said on the platform. Right. Bring it to the Lord. Yeah. And you deal with it. To answer the question, I don't know if there's a third or another thing outside of vanity, superiority, or approval. Because I think any kind of subcategory is just that, a subcategory of those three. But it could be just a sickness, right? Like depression. Like I will avoid food because I'm just so tired of feeling the way I feel that I want to suffer a certain way, right? This is why we have people who struggle with bulimia, anorexia, if I say that right, bulimia. But let me get back. I was thinking as you were talking about vanity, and I was thinking about myself in regard to superiority, vanity, and anytime I have avoided food, it's almost a combination of those three. It's not just one of them. Yeah. Or maybe just throughout parts of my life. So I grew up doing gymnastics. This was 4 to 5 hours of practice a day. Yep. So I could eat anything I wanted. And so as a young kid, as a teenage boy, dude, I've got abs, man. I have less than 5% body fat or 5% body, definitely less than 10, right? So from early on, there was vanity in that because I looked a certain way, right? I liked how I looked. Now I will avoid food because I don't like how I look. Mm-hmm. So there's an approval part of it. But when I was doing my CrossFit days, I liked how I looked, and there was a superiority. I look better than that person. Yeah. So I'm just confessing all my sins to you guys and on the podcast.
This is a safe place, buddy.
Yeah, but it's been a combination of the three, and you know it's so funny, man. We talk about you even talked about like you're at a buffet, and do you get back up? Do you avoid getting back up, right? Because somebody else may need like an opportunity to grab food, or like I'm gonna grab that last chicken thigh before it goes. And we have these engaged churches meetings. These are church network, planning network meetings. And there were times that I will get up last so everybody else gets a chance to have food. And I began to think to myself, do I do that because I really care for those other people getting an opportunity for food? Or is there a deep thing in my heart where I go, hey, somebody could feel bad for me if I don't, I didn't get any, Moody, dude. But
or Moody's so humble. Look at him waiting to go last.
But honestly, sometimes it's like, I actually don't like the options they have. So this is a reason that I could go somewhere else and get something I want. Yeah, but if you get to the heart of it, I didn't avoid food, or I didn't avoid that opportunity because I wanted to serve someone. I wanted to serve myself. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that's another just gut check, like heart check in us that we've got to, and again, that's vanity. Yeah. It's not in the sense of how I want to look. It's in a sense of, or maybe it's not vanity. Maybe it's something else.
Approval. How do I want to look to
that's
others?
Right. That's right. Sorry. This is why I need Pastor James in my life. He helps bring conviction to me. But man, how do I look to others? They all ate first. Now I'm last. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not me serving them. It's me serving myself.
Right. Bro, I want to get back to the question you asked about the person who's chasing approval through discipline or diet, and how do they start shifting their focus back to God. I think this is why we as Christians need a strong theology of the body. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys. I know all three of us grew up in church. I was never taught a strong theology of the body. And what I mean by that, I never remember growing up in church being taught that God made us as embodied creatures to bear his image rightly in the world, and that we would live as embodied creatures for all of eternity. And that future reality of what will one day be true when we're with Christ should reach back into the present and inform how I live in this body right here, right now. I never remember that. I just remember always thinking like, I'm going to die and get rid of this body one day. Mm-hmm. That the moment I die, body goes away, and I'm gonna live in the floaty place forever and hang in the clouds with the angels and be with Jesus and streets of gold and crystals and all the stuff, So in my mind, I was going to exist as a disembodied spirit for eternity. I had no concept, no clue about future resurrection. Jesus getting me up from the dead. None of that. It was very strange. I just don't remember that, like ever hearing about that until late teens, early 20s. And again, when I think about the person who's doing this, I would go, you need to understand why God gave you a body. Why? Okay. God, who is spirit, put you in a body so that you could serve as his physical representative in the world that he made. And so in the way you use your body, the goal cannot be to draw attention to you. The goal is to draw attention to him. That we glorify God with our bodies in all that we do, in our drinking, in our eating, whatever it is that we do, we're to glorify him. And so the question is, all right, is this physical thing that I'm living in, is the goal for people to get eyes on me or to get eyes on him?
Yeah.
And so to get your focus back to God, you've really got to wrestle to the ground why you even have that thing that you're in.
Yeah.
Why did God give this to me? And the answer is very, very simple. And you've got to accept that answer and then live in light of that answer, man.
Yeah. That's good. That's so good. It makes me, practical ways. It's like, well, then on your social media, are you doing all these things so you can show off your body? Are you doing these things in essence to help other people have good, healthy eating patterns, to have great exercise habits, right? Like none of these things are bad. No. We're not saying that. Right? We're saying the heart behind why you do what you do matters a ton.
Yes.
So are you avoiding food or are you doing all these other things so you can, again, look good for the approval of person? You can be vain. You can be superior over people or to God's glory. It made me think about, because you talk about gratitude in the sermon over the weekend. And how, man, being great, like and we'll talk about feasting here in a bit, but man, when we eat, man, just being grateful for what the Lord is providing. And growing up, my parents, my dad said the same blessing for the longest time. And it was, Lord, make us thankful for what we're about to receive. In Jesus' name, amen. That was it. My grandfather said it. He said it. And I remember one day somebody like made a joke about it. Right. They were like, make us thankful. And I was like, I guess that is weird. I'm like, oh, weirdo. But then, dude, on Sunday morning, when you talked about gratitude, and I remember that prayer, I thought, dude, sometimes God does have to make us thankful. He has to remind us to be grateful for the things that we have and to be grateful for this food that we get to enjoy, right, in the right context. All right, so, and I think you hit on it, but if someone's feeling stuck in the pressure to look a certain way, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I would go back to what you said just a moment ago. I think it matters how we steward our bodies. So what we're not saying is like, hey, healthy eating, healthy drinking, exercise. What we're not saying is that stuff doesn't matter. I'd be a hypocrite if I said that. I think it matters, man, that we're putting the right foods into our bodies. We're putting the right liquids into our bodies. I think moving and exercising matters. It's like, you only got one body.
Yeah.
And you've got one life to use that body for the glory of God. And for me personally, I've just made this decision. I don't want my body in any way to incapacitate my ability to do what God has put me here to do, right? Like I don't ever want to get to a point, maybe I will, when I'm an old man one day, but at least in my 40s, I don't want to be at a point where it's like, dang, I can't do that because, I haven't stewarded my body well. So I would say to all these people that care about fitness and care about health, care about those things.
Yep.
Again, this is not a bad thing. But it's like, why do you care about that? Do you care about these things because you want to steward your body well for the glory of God? Or do you care about those things because you're trying to transform your body in such a way that people see you and praise you?
Yeah.
And if that's the path you're on, I would go, you need to be really careful.
Yep.
Because what you're doing is you are putting health and fitness and food in the place of God. That has become your idol. You're not considering him in these things. And if the goal of your life is to just get eyes on you, then you're wasting the one life God has given you. You're missing your greater purpose.
Yeah, man, you made me even think about, bro, when it's all about trying to do it so you get a result, how just more stressful that is in life, how much more pressure there is. Because the moment you get it wrong, I think we all been there, but the moment that when, again, you're trying to look a certain way, and you eat the Oreo, or or whatever you do, you break the cycle, like the 75 hard, right? I think if you break one of the days there, you have to start all over. Yeah. And I can tell you, I would just quit. Day 50, you screwed up. I'm done. Yeah. Like, you tell me I got another 75 days?
Well, bro, to your point, it's like, if you're the person that we're currently describing, what do you do when you reach the age where you can't look like that anymore? Mm-hmm. It is physically impossible.
What are you striving after?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And so if that is what you're after, there will come a point where you're going to be incredibly disappointed because it will be physically impossible. I mean, bro, I look at guys like Ronnie Coleman. I look at guys like Schwarzenegger. I mean, these dudes were just massive, chiseled, incredible physiques. And they've gotten older. They don't look like that anymore. And so if all your hope and all your satisfaction is in looking a certain way, what happens when all that goes away, man? Yeah. And it will go away at some point. And so you need to anchor your hope and your satisfaction in God and Him alone.
That's right.
Because that's the only thing that's going to sustain you over the long haul.
Yeah, so good. All right, what are some simple everyday things someone can do to stop letting food control them, whether it's overeating or over restricting?
I'll tell you what I'll just tell you, this is real simple, okay?
Yep.
And my wife makes fun of me for this. I basically eat the same thing for every meal every day.
Creature of habit,
except for dinner. But we have a bank of recipes that we'll pull from, and then we'll just decide what do we want to cook for dinner. And so literally every breakfast is the same. Every lunch is the same. Every snack that I eat before I go to the gym is the same. My protein shake after the gym is the same. Dinner, we're choosing from 20 different dinners or whatever. But I think what I've tried to do with food is I just want to make it predictable. Mm-hmm. I take all the guesswork out of it. I eat what I eat. I make sure it's clean. I make sure it's healthy overall. Man, I'll indulge every once in a while. It's like I don't deprive myself entirely of cookies and ice cream and things like that. But we typically will only buy those things at like special times.
Yeah.
So here's what I don't do. I don't keep ice cream in the fridge all the time because if it's there, I will eat it all the time. I know myself well enough.
Yeah.
So I just had a birthday recently. My wife bought some cookie cake and she bought some chocolate peanut butter ice cream for me.
You didn't even want it, did you?
Well, bro, here's the deal. Over the course of a week, I ate that whole carton of ice cream solo by myself.
My man.
But here's the deal. I didn't go back and buy another one because I'm like, I don't need to be eating ice cream every single night, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to deprive myself of it. So I think the way that I approach food has helped me as a guy who has struggled with food in the past, just to go, I want this to almost be a brainless activity for me. Yeah. I don't want to have to think about it. And I'm not going to buy stuff that doesn't need to be in the pantry because I know the temptation is real for me. And so that's my approach.
And I love that because you're setting the self-control into action, right? Sure. And it's so funny, man. Again, my buddy Adam in small group makes jokes about the Oreos that I talk about on the podcast. And listen, over a month, I have not had Oreos in my house. But I will say, and this is where I think something simple you can start with is acknowledging, unlike what you just said, I am the guy, and I'm talking personally, I am the guy that if I eat a pack of Oreos in a week, I will go back to Ingles and grab some more because those birthday cake Oreos are the best thing in the world.
Let's go.
But I've realized, that's because it's a lack of self-control. And is it something I want or something I need? Yeah. Obviously, Oreos are a want, right? They are not a need. And I was thinking to myself, what if Truett Cathy, what if the original chicken sandwich was grilled? Would it have been, so much better? Would it have taken off? Probably not. But do I want the grilled chicken, which is better for me just in regard to healthy, or do I want the fried? Well, I want fried. I need grilled.
The fried, bro, is
so good.
Come on, man.
Sometimes that grill's stinky. I'm just being honest.
But it's still good.
Yeah. Bro, can I throw out one other thing that I think might help on this? I would say too, and this is something that I did years ago. I think just a simple thing that you could do to stop letting food control you, talk to someone who is really smart about food and have them help you. So this was a game changer for me. Years ago, I worked out with a trainer. This was after we moved back to the Atlanta area from Miami, so post that season of life. And I was working out with a trainer in our gym, and he helped me figure out food. And it was interesting. He's like, I want you to keep a food journal for like 5 days or whatever, And so I brought in a food journal and put it down. He's like, that ain't going to work, And I thought I was doing pretty good at the time. And so he drew up a meal plan for me, took all the guesswork out of it, gave me a list of foods. Here's the foods you can choose from. And it was almost like block eating. Just plug them in and just eat that way. And so I think if you really want some help with this, find someone who knows what they're doing. Go meet with a nutritionist, talk with a trainer, talk with a friend who has figured out how to eat and it's working for them, and let them help you put together a plan to get it right. But again, don't just get it right for the sake of, I want to look a certain way or whatever. It's like, no, I want to get this under control because I want God to be honored in my eating and drinking. Let that be your motivation.
Can I share something that may not be great advice? I don't know, but it's in the opposite vein. Because I watch you eat an apple every day at 3 o'clock. It's
and an RX bar.
That's right.
See, y'all not, dude. Yeah,
it's the same every day. Yeah. I didn't think it was real. After being around 5 years, it's like, it's for real. He does the same thing every day. So I've tried it, right? I tried it. Set an alarm goes off. And I'm like, day 3, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't, I don't have that. I want something new. I want to try something new. Yeah, I need variety. Yeah. So for me, when I think about not letting food control me, in my mind, it's like, oh, it's the morning, I'm supposed to eat. Oh, it's lunchtime, I'm supposed to eat. Oh, it's dinner, I'm supposed to eat. And just not. Or eating less, like choosing to skip a meal, skip multiple meals, not eat the entire day. Again, not for the sake of losing weight, but to not let food control me. Because in my head, it's just, I'm supposed to eat, and I'll just go eat. I have 30 minutes. I just got to grab something. I'm not thinking about healthiness. I'm thinking of anything. I'm just thinking it's time. Or my body's saying I need to eat something. And that's where it's lose control. It's just like, I'm just checking the box. I'm just doing the thing. I'm going to be done.
Yeah.
Try to be super disciplined, create a habit. I've gotten to like where I want to make stuff in the kitchens, because then the variety is me making stuff with my hands and being creative and doing something new and different. Because for me, in my head, that's what I want. I want something new. I want something different. You want to get me to buy something, you put new on the package, like I'm in, right? Because I want to try it. But choosing to say no to meals, saying no to more, it has been for me, especially right now, the way that has been the most helpful and satisfying of not letting food control me by finding a way to disrupt what's built in my head of this thing that I feel like I'm supposed to do. I have to eat, I have to drink, and just saying no, stop, slow down, don't let this control you.
Yep.
Find a better way.
Yep. That's good. And, I think a simple step, because we've talked a lot about in the indulgence aspect of it, but for someone who's avoiding, I think a very, very simple first step is just saying, God, am I into this fitness and diet thing for you, or am I in it for me? Mm-hmm. Just start talking to the Lord. Yep. And if it's for you, confess it, repent, turn from it, and now do it for the glory of God. The same like we're talking about eating and eating good foods, eating things that are good for you and avoiding the things that you don't need. And you're doing it all for the glory of the Lord. So, all right, we've talked about the danger and the motives. Now let's talk about freedom.
Okay.
Because, Pastor, you didn't leave us with just a diagnosis. You gave us a way forward. You gave us a solution. You ended the message by saying we actually kill gluttony through both fasting and feasting. So for someone listening right now who wants to take a real step this week, what's one simple way they can fast, or what's one simple fast they can try, and one simple way to feast with gratitude instead of guilt?
Yeah, man. Well, again, it's timely because it's Thanksgiving week. So this is real easy to do this. When I think about fasting, I would first ask the person who's asking the question, have you ever fasted? How experienced are you with this? Because if you're brand new to it, I'd go start slow, choose something that you can actually do and accomplish whatever. So maybe it is a food item. Maybe you go, hey, I'm going to fast for a day from soda, from added sugar, from chocolate, whatever it may be, and you pick a particular food item. It could be a meal. You just mentioned a meal. So it could be, you know what, I'm going to fast from breakfast. And instead of spending 20 minutes on breakfast, I'm going to spend that 20 minutes in prayer in the Word.
Yep.
And so instead of feeding my physical appetite, I'm going to feed my spiritual appetite, and I'm going to feast on God, just reallocate that time. This really is what fasting is biblically. It's abstaining from food for a spiritual purpose. Yeah. I'm going to say no to that so that I can say yes to God and get more of Him. And so that's where I would say to start. You know, if you're more experienced, you can do more. I mean, you could fast from meals. You could do a Daniel fast. You could do sun up to sundown. There's all kind of ways that you can participate and do it. Simple little Google search. Give me different types of fast, you know, spiritual fast, and you can find some ideas. And then for the most extreme people, do a water fast. You can do that for 5 days, 7 days, however many days you want to do it. It's water only. That's no joke. I know, Will, you've done this before. Yeah. It's no joke. Yeah. But this is one of the ways to increase your appetite for God.
Yeah.
So if you're at a point where you're like, I really want God to deepen my hunger for Him, fasting could be a great discipline for you to participate in.
Yeah. Well, that's always, and I love how you reminded us, because I was going to ask, like, we don't fast to lose weight. It may be a natural thing that happens, but we fast because we want to grow an appetite for the Lord. And I always think of Psalm 42 as a deer thirst for flowing streams, with my soul thirst for you, Lord. And so you maybe even that's your prayer when you're fasting is, God, I'm so flipping hungry right now, but I want my hunger for you to represent what I feel right now.
That's right.
Can I say something real quick about fasting? This is just fascinating to me, because there's not, like, the Daniel fast, we made that. I know Daniel did it in the Bible. We invented that idea. Yeah. There's no keto in the Bible. Right. But fasting is in Scripture, all beginning to end. For sure. And it's fascinating to me because there's all this information, there's all this data, there's all these studies that are coming out and talking about just the physical healthiness of fasting, like what it does. Like a 24-hour fast can reset your blood sugar, your immune system. Like there's crazy things that fasting for just 24 to 72 hours will do to the human body. And God was telling us, like, look, this will heal you. This will help you. This is something, and so there's a spiritual aspect of it that's woven in Scripture. But God knew that there was a physical and a healthy aspect to this. And so He's telling us, like, I'm trying to take care of you.
Yeah, so we just encourage you to take a step, like Pastor James said.
That's right.
All right, what's one simple way? All right, we got tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
What's a simple way to feast with gratitude instead of guilt?
Well, Will, you just said it. Fasting's all throughout the Bible. Feasting is all throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
And I love it, man. I mean, Genesis to Revelation, you see people eating meals, having feast. This was true in the garden. It was true for the nation of Israel. Yeah. It was true for Jesus. I didn't reference this in the sermon, but I mean, even thinking about the meal He established the night before His crucifixion, how do we remember the sacrificial death of Jesus for our sins? Well, we eat and we drink, right? We feast together as the people of God. And then, of course, the marriage supper of the Lamb in Revelation 19, we're going to feast with Jesus one day. There's going to be a wedding between Christ and His church, and we're going to celebrate and feast with Him. But, Moody, to get at the heart of your question, the point of feasting in the Bible, this is about gratitude.
Yeah.
That we feast to express gratitude. Even in the Garden of Eden, when you think about the permission He gave Adam and Eve, you can eat from any tree except that one. What God was doing, I mean, this was meant to be Adam and Eve recognizing God's provision, God's abundance, and they were to take joy in that, to celebrate that. Instead, they did the dumb thing and they ate from the one they weren't supposed to eat from. But all the meals for the nation of Israel, these were celebratory meals. We're going to thank God for who He is and what He's done and for the freedom we have because of Him. Communion, it's a celebratory meal. Marriage supper, celebratory meal. So when we eat meals like we're going to eat tomorrow, which, how crazy is it that it's called Thanksgiving? It's a celebratory meal. we need to be mindful enough to stop and to thank God for the good gift of food and drink. This is ultimately how we redirect our affections away from the gift of food and toward God, who is the giver of food. So like the prayer that you said your dad prayed, man. I know it's so easy just to like slip into praying before meals and you don't even think about what you're saying. But even the wording of that prayer, God, make us thankful for this food we're about to eat. That's the right thing to pray.
Yeah.
God, we need to be grateful for the gift that is food, because we don't want our affections or our worship to terminate on the food. We want our affections to terminate on you, the giver of the food. So God, make us thankful for this. Yeah. And then I would even say, this is really practical. As you are eating, you need to pay attention to how you're eating. Don't rush through it. Go slow. Savor every bite. Again, be very mindful of why I'm eating. Why am I eating this food? Because I want God to be honored and glorified. And so take time, even as you're taking bites. Don't just pray and thank him before the meal. Thank him during the meal. Thank you, God, for this turkey. Thank you, God, for this dressing. Thank you, God, for this mac and cheese. That, whatever it is. And along the way, you're just celebrating the goodness of God. Thank you for my taste buds that are allowing me to enjoy this right now. And so you're just constantly directing your worship back to him. Food, I said this over the weekend, food is not an end in and of itself, but it points to something beyond itself. And if you want to see the thing that food is pointing to, then you have to feast with a grateful heart.
Yeah. That's so good.
On Thursday, when I heard you say this, and I told you this, that was another curveball to me.
The feasting piece.
It's like, hey, you can deal with gluttony with fasting. You can deal with gluttony with feasting. And for me, just being honest, right? We're confessing. I was like, oh, a loophole, right? So I heard James say that I can feast, right? But I didn't say this when we were texting about this, but I think about, like, when we think feast, like we think Golden Corral, giant table full of stuff, all the food, all you can eat, right? But that heart posture, when God was just providing manna, right? Being thankful in that moment to feast on what he gave you.
That's right.
Even though so many wanted to go back and eat steak and do other things, it's like, no. I want you to be thankful because I'm providing your needs. And that's what you're talking about. That gratitude of whatever it is that you have. And it's not just about stuffing your face and just having all of this, right? It's about the fact that God has provided for you and that you have this and you're able to be blessed in this beautiful thing that God has provided. And even beyond that, because people just real quick, no one plants very few people are doing all of the work to create all the food that they're on Thanksgiving, right?
Very few people.
They have delegated the farming process, right? The curing process, all the processes necessary, and for some people, even the cooking, right? They're just going to get it picked up from wherever and just bring it and set it up on the table. They've just delegated all that stuff. And even being grateful that there are people, there are systems, we live in a world where that is made for you to make it easier for you, so you don't have to have hundreds of acres and however many heads of cattle and go find your own turkey and do all these things. There's so many things to be grateful for when you have a lot or when you have a little, and to feast on whatever God has provided, because that's the feast. The feast is the provision. I am thankful for what God has given me, and it's not a loophole to say, oh, I get to do all this, and now because I have. No, it's because God has given you, and when your heart is right and your mindset is right, it doesn't matter how much it is. Yeah. It's that you have something and you know it's from God and you thank him for it.
There you go, man. That's it.
Well, tomorrow, feast with thanksgiving, gratitude to the Lord. I think that's a good place to put a pin in it. Again, thank you again for listening. And as you go, we want you to know that we are here for you. We love you. And we'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Pursuit with James Griffin. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll never miss an episode. If you have questions about the message, the scriptures, or faith in general, you can send them to us by texting the word question to the number 22722. For more information about our church or this podcast, please visit crosspointcity.com or follow us online at Crosspoint City. If you found value in this podcast, we would love it if you took time to like it and share it with a friend. Doing that will help more people know and follow Jesus. And finally, we want to invite you to join us each week for one of our gatherings in person or live on YouTube. We hope to see you soon.